Battlefield keeps making some of the same mistakes even when they release an actual good game this time, and I'm frustrated. I said many times in the past that my involvement with EA would never affect my coverage of Battlefield. They don't tell me what I can do and I don't censor myself, so let's do this today. I have lots of my own points, but I came across a post online that perfectly represents the issues I'm sick of seeing and that highlight how some of the community feels right now again. So here it is before we do my bit. Tricky Squid on Reddit says, TLDR, I'm gonna vent like a diva because I paid $100 for a half-baked game again. During the beta and throughout the past week, I've been absolutely glazing EA/DICE for BF6. I felt like this was everything I could have wanted and felt so relieved that we can skip over the first year problems that Battlefield has always had. On top of that, Season 1 being so early, I was absolutely hyped and willing to steamroll anyone who disagreed. Boy was I an idiot, someone give me a I fell for it again award. And look, if you're enjoying the game, by all means, enjoy yourself. There is solid content that can keep you entertained for a while here, but for me, I feel duped, just like I did with 2042, if not more, because I believed in 6 so much more. I'm going to go through point by point, not to ruin the game for everyone else, but just in hopes that someone at EA is listening. Side note to any devs, I know you guys are working on the game, I know you have priorities, especially to the investors. I'm sorry if anyone is genuinely harassing you, no one should be attacking devs, I'm just a dude venting my frustrations. And if I may say, as not part of the quote, I agree with that, the devs are working very hard, a lot of them are very good people, and they're doing a very good job. Back to the quote, Netcode. It's like seeing a ghost from my past. It took BF4 almost 5 months to get its netcode fixed. It took 2042 almost 7 months, and here we are again. Half of the games I play I'm crushing, the other half is like I'm playing Ghostbusters, bullets just flying through people. I'm traumatized by 2042 when everyone had to use the PP Bison to even stand a chance. Vehicles. This is probably the worst Battlefield for vehicles up to this point. Missing features like Little Bird and Jet unlocks aside, the IFV is absolutely busted and makes air unplayable. I can't go a single game of Firestorm without both sides actively terrorizing each other with one-shot lock-ons. Can we pull one out for AA Vix, who is now absolutely worthless and will sit unused the entire match? Tanks have abysmal hit detection and nonsensical weak spots. Each shot is an absolute gamble if you do 200 damage or 700 damage to an enemy tank, even if you absolutely know what area you hit. It's a 50-50 shot if the EA gods love you or not. The upgrades are completely busted, half of them don't work as intended like APS, the other half are downgrades to the default setup. It just seems like no one tested them at all. I wasn't in portal testing, but I'm curious to know if there were issues. Pace and maps. Okay, we obviously overcorrected on the issues of 2042. I love the destruction, I love the aesthetics, but there are no viable playstyles other than crackhead cranking 90s, or that's hard to read, or sitting on an unreachable roof the entire game. The objectives are so tiny and the lanes of movement are so close together that it feels like every fight is the same as the last. Run till I'm nose to nose with someone and play the TTK/netcode gamble game. As an aside from the quote, I'm going to talk about that a lot today. It is my biggest problem with the game. Back to the quote. The focus on small infantry game modes is almost making me really worried we will only continue this trend. I'm not going to say I know the exact reason, maybe it's movement speed or cover or overall map layout, but something is terribly wrong compared to BF4 and BF3. The maps all feel like Operation Locker. Balancing weapons and gadgets. Now, I'm not opposed to 3 gadgets, but they need some serious balancing. Stims basically make you blind, take ages to use, and last a fart length of time. Mines are littered in every dark road and are ridiculously hard to see in some places. I feel like I'm getting Afghanistan IED PTSD at this point shooting every rock I see. Spawns are so tiny and close together that halfway through the match, it's guaranteed someone littered your only exit. I know the following gadgets are divisive and hard to balance correctly, but concussions, flashbangs, mortars, flame grenade launcher, and tracer dart are all worthless and are basically memes at this point. I've seen people vape bigger clouds than the smoke mortars. 80% of gadgets feel like fluff when they should be strategic use devices to give you the upper hand in niche situations. Weapon balancing is overall okay. The biggest issue is unlocked classes. Yes, SMGs are OP, it feels 10 times worse when every class is running them. Why would I ever think about touching a DMR or LMG when I can use a sniper or SMG and it follows me to every single class? Speciality perks make almost no difference if I can spray 800 RPM laser accurate to 60 meters. Also, whose idea was it to give snipers auto rangefinders? It's like DICE has a factory building Chris Kyles to put on every single roof and mountaintop in BF6. On top of this, I had to stop playing closed lobbies because they are all getting bot filled, no one is playing them, so each lobby is an XP farm. Either balance the crap out of everything or lock everything because no one is using 60% of the guns, and why would they? Progression and challenges. I appreciate the increased speed at level 1 to 20 on guns, but goddamn, I'm exhausted playing the entire weekend trying to unlock a suppressor. I don't even care about the camos. Yes, we should reward people who grind out a gun for ages, give them the shiny badge and camos, I don't care, but locking all attachments behind level 50 is asinine. Again, why use different guns if the busted SMG is the only gun I have attachments for? Compress the attachments all to level 25, level 20 to 50 awards camos and goofy badges. What is there to say about challenges that already hasn't been said? Every place that talks about BF6 is an angry mob because of challenges. Locking class types and equipment behind broken assignments is a wild move. Taking away portal progression while they are still broken is a move I only expect from EA. A kick to the groin to everyone who is actually excited for the return of Battlefield. Season 1, skins, fixes, responses, DICE please. This past week has been an absolute beatdown to the community. You promised XP in Portal, you left it open to exploits, so you took it away. You advertised creativity in Portal modes, people made zombies in Nuketown, you take it away. You convinced the community that kernel level access was necessary for no cheaters, yet tanks have aimbot. You made us all come together to laugh at COD X Nikki skins, and you gave us the Blue Man group. You promised bigger maps, and you gave us 4v4 modes. All while half the game is absolutely busted. Just so I don't sound like a jobless hater, I just want to say I genuinely enjoy the game when it works. The gunplay is sweet, feedback is amazing, movement feels good, sound is best it's ever been, destruction makes me moist, when hit rate is good, vehicles feel so damn good, blowing up an IFV after well executed flank is what I dream about now. Alright, bye guys, I'm going to touch some grass, fix the game, give us big maps, give us grounded skins, and let us play Portal again. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now, with the quote done, I don't exactly 100% agree with all of it, but it's a great example of what I'm here to talk to you about. Quick reminder here to check if you're subscribed and if you'd like to join this community. As I try to hit 100k subs, thank you very much for hitting the sub button. So, as I said, I am frustrated. I'm not seeing a lot of this talked about very much at the minute via content. I think Battlefield 6 can have a really bright future. I love the bones of the game, I love the core of it. I really love the Battle Royale red sex so far, and I'm very happy with a lot of the patches and fixes that keep coming out, some of it addressing the quote that I have just read. And this game was actually released to much fanfare overall and is honestly a better launch than we're used to with Battlefield. It's also simply a far superior game to Battlefield 2042. The obvious signs are good and sales have been good so far, but there are issues I've found myself pretty shocked to see creep up again. Things that have spoiled the launch for me to some degree. Things that now have me playing the Battle Royale each day rather than the multiplayer, and I'm not traditionally a BR fan. And there are things that definitely need to be fixed up if public sentiment isn't to fiercely turn towards the negative, at least from some vocal parts of the community. As, aside from all the plaudits the game is getting and does deserve, hand on heart I can say that, I don't like seeing hangover issues from Battlefield 2042 and far prior to that even. I don't understand why we're making some very obvious mistakes again. Without so many repeated issues, we get much better launches, feedback, and overall enjoyment from the player base. So, consider this feedback and constructive criticism if you'd like. That's what I intend it to be, as well as just me venting my frustration. So, why is the Portal in a very similar state of disarray to BF 2042? Back to the focus being on combating bot XP grinding lobbies, restricting XP gains, missing out on the full power of the creativity that can be harnessed with such an impressive tool. We absolutely had to see this as a strong possibility of happening and have a proper plan in place of what to do. This current state of affairs just isn't it. Plus, what people are calling the broken promises of uncapped XP gaining and the ability for all players to just host a server without issue. If the Portal was a standalone game, this would have been a catastrophic release. I'm genuinely extremely disappointed in how that aspect has played out. I don't doubt that EA and Battlefield Studios as a whole are as well. It should have been avoided. It should have been handled differently. A solution is needed and it should never ever happen again after this for this aspect of Battlefield. Because I'm not saying games won't have problems, bugs and things to alter at launch. Game development is hard, but it's reasonable to expect experience to mean certain problems don't arise again repeatedly. Another massive one for me is Netcode. Time to kill and time to death issues, hit detection, all of that stuff. I've been talking about this issue within Battlefield for years and years. Why is the netcode so unreliable? Why does playing against a high ping player suck so much for the person on good ping? Why are so many people still resetting their game after an hour or two because they aren't sure if they're experiencing memory leak or not, or if it's the server or whatever else? In a first-person shooter, the gunfight is king. If players don't trust the gunfights, they don't trust the game. It should be priority number one to rid the game of as many of these issues as possible. The lightning fast kill time in this game, combined with netcode problems, has so many players sick of dying in a split second, creating an unenjoyable gameplay loop for many. Sometimes you're dying to people that aren't even looking at you yet from your perspective. Sometimes players are dying when they've clearly already put enough bullets in the enemy. Sometimes even getting visual feedback of having done so, but the enemy isn't dead, with blood splattering, etc. And sometimes the damage actually just doesn't land at all. It's rare, but I've seen plenty of clips of it. It's not good enough in this day and age. This one genuinely bothers me. As a side note, and this isn't really a complaint, more so an observation, I actually quite like the time to kill of the Battle Royale when compared with the multiplayer. It's of course way too slow to just be in the multiplayer as it is in the BR, but it made me realise that a slightly slower time to kill in the multiplayer, within Battlefield 6 specifically, probably would be more enjoyable for me. More of a focus on aim and sustained damage, more ability to exit a bad scenario, more focus on considering your play rather than who shoots first and then pray to the netcode gods. Just something to think about. Anyway, onwards, crossplay. I'm seeing a load of lobbies with a few console players and a raft of PC players. I thought it was the intention for platform or input method or whatever to be prioritized when crossplay is on. Maybe it is, and maybe I'm just not seeing it happen consistently. You guys can let me know. But I've seen a lot of players online also saying the same thing, that when you're trying to load up, if you're on console, you end up playing against a ton of PC players a lot of the time. And on Xbox, it's already a struggle sometimes to get certain game modes to work in a timely manner and avoid a lot of bot filling, and we're only like 2 weeks into the game. Another thing that's feeling very reminiscent of Battlefield 2042 right now. Either way, crossplay is a great tool, but there are early signs to cause concern, and it's really time for console-only crossplay to come to Battlefield. Maybe it hasn't happened due to aspects out of their control. I honestly do not know, and if so, they can't be blamed for that. But if it can happen, it should. I truly think PC has a large enough player base that it can be just fine, even if most console players decide to do console-only crossplay. But while we're on matchmaking, I'm not a fan. I was okay with the current system as a concept. I like the custom search feature that it allows, but that feature seems to not be 100% reliable, and I'm seeing way too often issues with the player base being split in many lobbies, filling with bots to then filter players in over time, as other games end. The lack of persistent servers and a server browser is a net negative for the player, I think, at this point. Get the players grouped up into the lobbies that are needed, provide persistent servers, and let them enjoy playing against each other without waiting ages and shooting bots. There are negatives to it, but I think it's a better system, having tried what BF6 has to offer, and this would definitely help players that are playing crossplay turned off. Let's move on to maps though. God, the maps. I'm not in the map hating camp. I really am not, but it does suck seeing so many players not happy with them overall. Like absolute deja vu. It seems they've gone too far though this time in the other direction from Battlefield 2042 to try to correct course. I'm not going to go into them in depth, but I think Battlefield needs to forge a more consistent reputation for releasing good maps, like on average, rather than a few iconic ones and then mediocre stuff to fill in the rest, and some honestly bad ones. Like the new map, Blackwell Fields, I'm sorry man, that's just bad. I can't dress it up, it's bad. I spawned in as an attacker on Rush and was essentially spawn trapped instantly in an open kill zone, and on Conquest, it's just an undersized but open plain. Let's step it up for the maps, Battlefield Studios. I like the improvement on focusing on cover and a reduced time to action, but more variety, more scope, and just better overall design would be great. I feel a bit bad because I gave positive feedback about the maps, but I didn't expect the full release to not really offer many large-scale combat opportunities. Oh, and the massive vertical campy gameplay of New Sobek City, that gets a no from me, like a hard no. Give us more ways to take the snipers down, please. Anyway, another massive problem is the communication. I love that they're listening. I love that they're changing things. I love the effort. I love a lot of the openness and the willingness to take a backward step to correct course. I don't love the way there remains a disconnect on certain things that cause unnecessary drama. The portal issue of being told that everyone can host a server without problems from earlier, the uncapped XP thing in the portal from earlier, the focus on grounded skins that the player base were told would be a way forward for at least a while, then the whole blue skin debacle, which, to say my piece, I don't think it's actually that bad. I didn't really have a huge problem with it. I think it's a lot of drama, but it would have been sensible, I think, to rein in the first lot of skins a bit when previewing them to avoid that inevitable early backlash just a bit if you go even a little bit overboard. But really, it comes down to the feeling of broken promises overall. Portal and the first map, just not delivering on what players expect. A much better job has to be done with that and would do the franchise a huge favor because I've been talking about communication flaws for so many years, all the way back to BF5. And if it's not breaking promises on purpose, then at least have the communication be more clear more often to avoid misunderstandings. Like, for example, before the game came out, the miscommunication about how crossplay would work. And there's more. Vehicles. I have zero doubt that balancing vehicles is extremely hard, especially when up against infantry. But I think it's time for a new process to be brought in of some kind, for better vehicle balance and better bug finding for them specifically. I'm not a vehicle user, but I really am tired of so many vehicles in Battlefield being either overpowered or underpowered or bugged, and then seeing YouTube and Twitter and so on fill up with vehicle players again talking about it just being a busted situation. And if I'm allowed an aside point, congrats on fixing the brightness issue, and well done for getting on top of the spread problems, with fixes in effect and more coming. Can we now please nail the audio in both the multiplayer and red sec? It has to be more consistent. Hearing an enemy running 5 meters away from me is much more important than the charging footsteps of my squad mate in a building next door. Please. Plus, when is the aim assist from the beta or whatever being implemented? I and many others are still playing on reduced aim assist values because the current aim assist bubble is awful, and if you've put something in place, I've not seen it communicated. So again, we need to loop back to that if you have done something. It's just all not quite good enough in that regard. The aim assist in the beta was good. The gunplay felt great. There was no need to change it. If positive feedback is given about something in testing, please don't then butcher it for the full release. I know it wasn't the intention, but tweaking something that doesn't need tweaking and then having a big problem on release is just shooting yourself in the foot. Another unnecessary and repeated issue. And I think with the Battle Royale coming out and me having so much fun on it has really driven home to me that I'm not feeling the multiplayer as much as I should be at this stage. I'm kind of concerned for it, somewhat from a wider playing perspective, and certainly for my own enjoyment and career prospects. It can be great, let's get it there. And also in some weird way, the Battle Royale feels a bit more like a Battlefield experience than the multiplayer right now. I think currently the multiplayer is a 9 out of 10 masquerading as a 6 out of 10, maybe even a 5. Fix the problems, get a great game. I know that sounds simple, but my point is, if you don't have so many repeated problems that really shouldn't be there, you don't have so much to fix, and the game is better on release, and we get rid of this constant cycle with Battlefield. I think this one's going to do really well, and I certainly hope so, but you can always make improvements to how you do your processes, and avoiding such repeated issues for the next release and other content drops would be massive. There's so much being done well, and that absolutely should be the focus. It's why I again feel a little bit bad making this video being the outlier. You could argue it's actually kind of a good sign that we don't have a lot of creators talking about this. It means we haven't reached the point of it all breaking, but this has been on my mind, and I just think it's time for a lot of these problems to have their final breath. More lessons learned, less of the same mistakes made, a more enjoyable experience for all. There absolutely are, and I have to drive this home multiple times, fantastic aspects of the game and its launch, and I'm having a good time overall. So it's possible I follow this up with the flip side of what's great and why some of the community is going overboard with criticism, because the Battlefield community can be kind of whiny, to be honest. So subscribe to catch that and let me know if you want it, and thanks for helping me get towards 100k subs. Patreon is in the description if you want to support this channel. Thank you so much for that, as I'm trying my best to keep it going. And YouTube is suggesting another video on screen of mine right now that thinks you'll like. I'll see you over there.